urban style individual.
What's up with y'all? Hopefully this video finds you in good spirits, and if not, well, at least you not DSP. And it appears our boy DSP has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar. Now, I just want to say this real quick. This is less about who this girl is and more about what she represents, right? Because, well, at least what she represents to Phil, because we don't know if there's any back and forth correspondence going on. But let's get into it.
Aware of this, that's right. And apparently there's some big news in the snort text that's going around. DSP, if you're watching, please, I want you to react to this. So apparently it's been reported out by several detractors on Twitter that apparently DSP is following some female gamer by the name of Early Bird, right? She seems to be, I think she's a YouTube, and I think she does Twitch as well. She does dual streams. She doesn't stream often. She probably streams like once a month. She has some videos out there. We found her channel. Again, don't harass. First thing I'm going to say is please don't harass Early Bird. She's just someone that's streaming or whatever. Just leave her be. But I do want to highlight this because this is very interesting. So it looks like Phil has been simping. That's right, simping for some chick on YouTube by the name of Early Bird. Now, I find that very curious that Phil is actually giving anyone any money. And we know the other day, what was it, yesterday, he went on a rant about that he does donate to other streamers. He does give money to other streamers, and it's none of your business. So of course,
Now, on the surface, I don't care if Phil donates money or he has something that entertains him, that he watches, that's within reason. You know, a Netflix subscription, or he has a content creator that he's fond of. The issue with this is if it goes beyond the realm of just him being a spectator and he is expecting something more. Because if he's gifting these coffees, which you're later going to find out is their version of tips with the hopes of gaining some attention, then we have a real problem.
of course, whenever Phil challenges detractors, they're going to go out and they're going to find out, they're going to find the information. And that's why I constantly tell Phil, you shouldn't egg on people. You shouldn't egg people on. Because when you tell people to shut up and mind their business and you're never going to find out, more than likely they're going to eventually find out. And it looks like they did.
I disagree. I think Phil should continue to egg people on because that's the catalyst for a lot of the information that we were able to receive over the years. If Phil took the opposite approach and was docile and act like things never happened, they probably would have faded into obscurity. But it was the pounding of his chest that galvanized people and motivated people to want to find the truth. So I got to say, Phil, keep doing what you're doing, bruh.
It looks like they did. So shout out to Casperg and a few other people who posted this on Twitter. So they posted an image and it looks like Phil actually paid for coffee. Now you want to say, well, what does that mean exactly? This person is on YouTube. So if you go to their YouTube channel, they actually have a link tree. And then on their link tree, you can actually see different links. And she's linked to Ko-Fi, Discord, Twitch, and Twitter, right? So I clicked on her Ko-Fi, where is a place where you can buy stuff off of people or just tip them or whatever. It's almost like PayPal. Think of it like PayPal. So I did manage to find her link, and here it is, folks. And lo and behold, I decided, well, let's see who actually gave this person money. And if you go into their post section, oh, right here. If you go here, you can actually click right here, and anytime someone gives you money or anytime someone donates, they can leave a little message for this person. So if you give someone $5 or whatever, you can actually drop a little note and tell this person, hey, I like your content, thank you, blah blah blah. You can also use it to pay for work. So if you're, I don't know, like I've used this to pay not Pixar, yeah, Pixar animation, and I've used it to pay darksydephil for work that they've done for me. You can actually go in here and drop some money, right? And lo and behold, who do we find here? Well, DSP for some reason. DSP is dropping some cash, and they call it coffee because it's just a tip. That's what they call their tips. And it looks like we have a couple transaction here of Phil dropping some tips on this chick, this female streamer. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, Phil, really? That's very interesting. So I guess what we have to first say is Phil was telling the truth. He wasn't lying. He does donate to content.
No, I wanted that to play so you get the whole context. I didn't want to keep jumping in and try to over explain or cause confusion. I wanted it all to be said before I hopped in. Now we can see here that there's 4 transactions, right? Now we don't have a dollar amount and we don't know to what extent those things actually mean. Are they subs? Are they gifts? But to me, it doesn't matter. He's giving this person money. Now, I will be interested to see what type of content she actually creates, because I think that's going to give us some insight into why Phil is actually contributing to her. Because I believe that she has a small following. And since she's so small, she might still be in awe of somebody like DSP, even though he's DSP, right? Because he does have a larger online footprint than she does.
So, all right, W for Phil there. Phil gets the W there. But of course, that opens up a lot of other questions. For example, we all know that Fat Cat's extremely jealous. Fat Cat is an extremely jealous person to the point where Phil can't even play video games where there's boobies on stream, on the screen. He can't do that, right? So I wonder if Cat knows that Phil is actually donating to some female. Some random female. Why is Phil simping for this chick? And why is he giving her money? And the other question is Cat watching as well? Or, is this one of Cat's favorite streamers and DSP decided to be a nice person and give money? Who knows? We don't know. But more than likely, if you look at Phil's past, right? He's been known to just slide into people's DMs.
Now, when you understand the formation of him and Cat's relationship, and by him I mean DSP, you know this is not outside of the realm of possibility for somebody like Phil. Cat was someone who was contributing to his Patreon, somebody who was a regular in his comment sections. She was a dent, and he ended up marrying her. Now, for the longest, people have been talking about a potential crack or fissure in Phil and Cat's relationship. And I would not be surprised at all if Phil is attempting to, even if it's unbeknownst to him, to begin the monkey branching process. Now, the catalyst for that could be late nights, Jen, and him just saying stupid stuff because, again, he's a man ruled by his desires. But subconsciously, that could be what he's leaning towards if the rumors about Cat not being there or potentially leaving are true.
He slid into Panda Lee's DMs. He slid into Cat's DMs. Did Phil slip into Early Bird DMs? Is he looking for soulmate number 4? Soulmate number 1 being his mom. Soulmate number 2 being Panda Lee. Soulmate being number 3 being Cat. Is he actually looking for soulmate number 3?
I would say you're one of his soulmates. But anyway, that is an interesting perspective though, right? I mean, I touched on it before, but why else is Phil actually on this stream or on this girl's content giving her money? I mean, we know he's not purchasing a product, right? So why else is he on here unless he's trying to gain or garner attention for himself, right? He's trying to throw an olive branch out there with the hopes that she at some point will look his way.
Those are the questions I have and I want to know. I'm very curious, Phil. What's going on here? What's going on, brother? What are you doing? Especially when Phil talks about how he doesn't have money to take his poor wife on a honeymoon. Oh, let's not forget Becky Boop. Thank you, Chad. Thank you for reminding me about Becky Boop. He slid into Becky Boop's DMs.
I'm sorry, man. Who is Becky Boop, man? But I'm not gonna lie, Duty makes a good point. For the longest time, Phil is always talking about his bills and how he can't afford certain things. Now, as of late, that narrative has changed. He's on top of the mountain. And he can do whatever he wants, even though his behavior does not reflect that, right? But that is a good point. Why are you spending money on this woman, and the only thing you buy for your woman is lukewarm cheeseburgers because they get delivered? That doesn't make sense. And I don't care if it's $5, $10, or $2 or whatever it is. You shouldn't be giving anything, especially considering you've been married to your woman for how long and you still ain't took her on a goddamn honeymoon or an anniversary trip or nothing.
How can Phil come on stream and talk about he needs money to pay his bills, He can't take his poor wife on a honeymoon because he doesn't make enough money, right? How can Phil claim to do that, but yet be simping for some chick on YouTube? It doesn't make sense. Why is it Phil giving anyone money, right? Any content creator, especially a female? Why is he giving her money when he makes his wife work a part-time job? His wife, who he claimed had cancer and was sick and was dying and had all these medical problems.
No, of course, no, because, we're sensationalizing a little bit, right? We don't really know. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this could be much ado about nothing. I mean, it could be all of $4 that Phil spent, or it can be a whole nother beginning to an arc. You never know with DSP, but that's where the intrigue comes from, and that's what makes this stuff fun. That's why I don't really understand why people get upset. Phil's a damn joke. A lot of time y'all keep waiting for his judgment to come, not understanding that he's living in it.
And is obese. That's right, obese. She's at the pinnacle peak of obeseness. Why do you make that poor woman stand on her poor ankles? Because those ankles, it's rough. It's been tough for those ankles. How can you make her stand up for 3 hours a day working a part-time job, and yet you're simping here for this chick? Why, Phil? I don't.
So we have to stop acting like Kat is a child. Phil's not making her do anything. She's a grown woman. All right. Whatever financial arrangement they have, that's what they have. Some couples separate their finances. Others take the more traditional role where one person or the man is the primary source of revenue. And that's okay. However y'all work it out. Right. But to say that he's forcing her to work is a bit crazy to me, because whether she was a Phil or not, she would have to have a damn job.
I don't understand. It makes zero sense to duty, right? And the worst part is, bro, your toilet's still broken. Your toilet is still broken. How the fuck, Phil, can you have a broken toilet in your house and be giving anyone money? Now, someone might say, Duty, how do you know this is DSP? Well, I mean, we could look at the history. Phil has a bad habit of sliding into people's DMs and supporting females. We saw it with Becky Boop or whatever. And of course, we all speculated for years that Phil and Kat divorced or they're just roommates. So, I don't know.
But what I don't understand is, as a homeowner, why don't you have a homeowner's warranty? Which is not to be confused with homeowner's insurance. Those are two different things. But a warranty. So, they come through and they can, fix the things in your house, and you just have to pay a deductible. And for the most part, it's a fixed deductible, and it works a lot like car insurance, even though it's not called that. So that part right there is what makes the least amount of sense to me, because it's an automatic money saver. And if you don't do it, you end up in situations like Phil, where your damn bathroom becomes condemned, which is a problem, especially when you have two people in the house who love fast food and who love booze. So those bathrooms are being frequented a lot.
It lends to the credence that maybe Kat left, maybe she bounced. We don't know. So I'm curious. I'm here to ask the serious questions. Phil, what are you doing, brother? Why are you simping for some chick on YouTube? And why are you giving your hard-earned money, or your hard-earned money that you beg for? Why the fuck are you giving it to some random chick? And why is the toilet still broken? That's the bigger question Duty has. Why is your toilet still fucking broken?
Well, the real question is, what was these funds exchanged for? Because if this was for a man or somebody else's string, we probably would not be having the same conversation, right? It's only news or noteworthy because it's a female, and the weird dynamic that Phil has with females outside of his wife. Well, even including his wife, right? So, like I said, it could be much ado about nothing, but I did want to cover it because I felt like it was something that was interesting that may gain legs later on. Who knows? You never know how this stuff goes with DSP. You think the story is going one way, the next thing you know, it's a plot twist. The writers are crazy, and they are talented. You got to give it to them. But that's all I got for y'all. Peace.
Urban style content. I'm dead.